Israel strikes Syrian military HQ in Damascus amid sectarian clashes. According to the Associated Press, Israeli warplanes conducted major airstrikes in Damascus, hitting the Syrian Defense Ministry headquarters and sites near the presidential palace. The intervention is a response to escalating sectarian violence in southern Syria between government-aligned forces and the Druze minority. Israel stated its actions were intended to defend the Druze community. A fragile ceasefire has been announced, but its stability remains uncertain amid violence that has reportedly killed over 300 people. U.S. threatens Russia with tariffs, shifts Ukraine arms supply strategy. According to Reuters, the U.S. administration is threatening Russia with significant tariffs and has issued a 50-day ultimatum to pressure Moscow into a peace agreement. Concurrently, the White House is reversing a previous pause on weapons shipments, now authorizing the sale of arms to European allies for them to then provide to Ukraine. Meanwhile, Russian attacks continue, with a recent strike on Ukrainian energy infrastructure injuring at least 15 people. At least 20 killed in crush at Gaza humanitarian aid site. According to the Associated Press, at least 20 people were killed in a stampede and crush during a chaotic humanitarian aid distribution in Gaza. The incident occurred at a site run by an Israeli-backed group, the GHF, which has blamed armed agitators for the tragedy. The event underscores the extreme desperation and logistical disarray of relief efforts in the territory amid widespread reports of hunger and a severe lack of medical care. International operation dismantles pro-Russian cybercrime network. According to the Associated Press, a major international law enforcement operation coordinated by Europol has successfully dismantled the infrastructure of the pro-Russian cybercrime group known as No Name 05716. The operation involved 12 countries, including the US and Germany, and targeted the group for launching denial-of-service attacks against Ukraine and its NATO supporters. German authorities have issued arrest warrants for the group's suspected leaders. Key ultra-Orthodox party quits Netanyahu's coalition government. According to the Associated Press, a key ultra-Orthodox party has quit Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's governing coalition, dealing a significant political blow to the Israeli leader. Despite the departure, some reports suggest the move paradoxically provides Netanyahu with a political lifeline on other matters. This development adds to the pressure on the government as it navigates ongoing domestic and regional crises. U.S. and Indonesia finalize major trade deal including Boeing jet purchase. According to Reuters, the United States and Indonesia have finalized a significant trade agreement that sets U.S. tariffs on Indonesian goods at 19%, avoiding a feared rate of 32%. As part of the pact, Indonesia has committed to purchasing 50 Boeing jets, $15 billion in U.S. energy, and $4.5 billion in U.S. agricultural products. The agreement is one of only a handful reached by the administration ahead of an August 1 deadline. U.S. inflation rises to 2.7%, fueled by tariff-related price hikes. According to Bloomberg, the U.S. Consumer Price Index rose 2.7% for the 12 months ending in June, an increase that analysts are linking to the administration's tariff policies. The monthly price increase of 0.3% was the largest since January, with notable hikes in tariff-impacted sectors like apparel and appliances. The data provides clear evidence that trade policy costs are being passed on to consumers, complicating the Federal Reserve's outlook. UK economy contracts for second month, increasing rate cut probability. According to The Times, the United Kingdom's gross domestic product unexpectedly fell by 0.1% in May, marking the second consecutive monthly decline after a 0.3% drop in April. The contraction, driven by weakness in industrial output and construction, strengthens market expectations that the Bank of England will cut interest rates in August to stimulate growth, despite annual inflation recently rising to 3.6%. China's economic resilience tested by pay cuts and consumer caution. According to Reuters, beneath China's headline economic figures, consumers and workers are facing significant pressure, including pay cuts at state firms and a greater need for supplemental income. This consumer belt tightening, coupled with mounting risks from U.S. tariffs, suggests underlying weaknesses and challenges to sustained growth for the world's second-largest economy as it navigates both domestic and external headwinds. Fed report shows rising activity but pessimistic outlook amid trade woes. According to Reuters, the Federal Reserve's latest Beige Book survey indicates that U.S. economic activity rose in recent weeks. However, the business outlook has grown more pessimistic, with companies reporting that the loss of immigrant labor and the disruptive effects of rapidly changing trade policies were exacerbating struggles. These factors are reportedly weighing on future plans for capital investment and hiring across the country. Global stocks fall as ASML warning and bank earnings fuel anxiety. According to Reuters, European and U.S. stock markets declined as investor anxiety grew. The Pan-European Stoxx 600 index fell for a fourth consecutive day, led by an 11.4% plunge in chip equipment maker ASML after it warned that tariff uncertainty could impact its 2026 growth targets. In the U.S., disappointing earnings reports from major banks including Wells Fargo and J.P. Morgan Chase also dragged down market indices. Trump says firing Fed Chair Powell is not planned but possible. According to the Wall Street Journal, U.S. President Donald Trump stated he is not planning to fire Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell but suggested it could be done for cause, citing alleged overspending on a building renovation project. The comments, which follow public criticism of Powell for not lowering interest rates, have unsettled financial markets and intensified concerns about the central bank's political independence. Asian markets trade cautiously amid U.S. trade and Fed policy uncertainty. According to Bloomberg, Asian stock markets posted modest gains, but trading remains cautious as investors weigh ongoing U.S.-China trade tensions and the implications of rising U.S. inflation. A strengthening U.S. dollar, driven by expectations that the Federal Reserve will hold interest rates steady due to price pressures, is creating potential headwinds for regional economies and corporate earnings. Bitcoin price retreats from record high ahead of U.S. crypto vote. According to Reuters, the price of Bitcoin has pulled back to around $118,000 after reaching a record high above $122,000 over the weekend. The volatility comes as the U.S. House of Representatives prepares for a crypto week, which is expected to include a key vote on legislation governing stablecoins. The outcome of this vote is considered a pivotal moment for the digital asset industry's regulatory future. U.S. Treasury market braces for jump in government bond issuance. According to Reuters, U.S. fixed income markets are preparing for a significant increase in Treasury issuance, which is projected to approach $500 billion this quarter. This surge in government debt supply is a key concern for bond investors, as it could put upward pressure on yields and subsequently impact borrowing costs across the wider economy. U.S. reverses policy, allowing some AI chip sales to China. According to Bloomberg, the U.S. government has executed a major policy reversal by providing assurances to NVIDIA and AMD that will allow them to resume exporting some advanced AI chips to China. The decision, which could generate billions in revenue for the companies, marks a dramatic shift from a previous hardline stance and suggests a more nuanced approach to the U.S.-China tech rivalry. U.S. aims to ban Chinese technology in undersea telecom cables. According to Reuters, the U.S. Federal Communications Commission, FCC, is moving to ban Chinese technology from being used in undersea telecommunications cables that connect to the United States. The proposal also aims to prohibit Chinese companies from operating these critical data conduits, citing national security concerns over potential espionage and the integrity of global data traffic. China-linked hackers increasingly target Taiwan's chip industry. According to Reuters, security researchers report that hackers linked to the Chinese government are escalating cyber attacks that target Taiwan's vital semiconductor industry. The increased frequency and sophistication of these attacks appear aimed at stealing intellectual property and disrupting a critical node in the global technology supply chain, further heightening geopolitical tensions in the region. NVIDIA CEO receives rockstar reception in China after sales approval. According to the Wall Street Journal, following the U.S. government's decision to allow some AI chip sales to resume, NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang received an enthusiastic reception during a visit to China. Huang praised the country's technological progress, highlighting the immense economic importance of the Chinese market for leading American technology firms, especially in the rapidly growing AI sector. China's electric vehicle industry continues its rapid expansion. According to the BBC, China's electric vehicle market is experiencing sustained and rapid growth, with domestic EV sales accounting for nearly half of all automobiles sold in the country in 2024. Major manufacturers like NIO reported a 39% increase in deliveries last year, a pace that has continued into 2025 and solidifies China's dominant position in the global EV landscape.